So, did you make any recommendation?
It can work. Yes, we did.
What was the recommendation?
We are recommending that this school fees should not be more than 50,000 naira.
Across board?
Across the board.
Including the medical students?
Including the medical students, and there's a reason for that. We believe that government should be able to subsidize certain courses. You have a child who wants to study medicine. Yes, you may be able to afford it. The pepper seller out there, whose child is much more brilliant, possibly than yours, will not be able to do medicine simply because the parents cannot afford it.
Would you
we feel
also
that
say,
will be inequality.
Would you
and the
say
government should be able to subsidize that?
Because the students also tell us that they admit that there has been an increase in bursary allocation to them. There's also been an increase in what the state government gives to the scholarship and bursary board, which is accessible to all indigent students from Lagos State.
How much?
Would you say, they say it's 800 million naira, but that what is available to them, that's their figure. I'm not a student, I don't know about that. They also say that what's available to students in LASU right now is 200 million naira. They also say that they get a third, according to them, of their school fees right now. That is what their bursary is equivalent to, unlike in the past when it used to be higher. Would you say that this thing should be increased instead of the state government? Because the state government is framing the question in a different way. They say that what they see is that you're asking them to increase subsidy, not exactly reduce school fees, because the cost of education will still be the same. The question is, who's bearing the cost?
Who's to bear the cost? Government. That's our view. Now, when you turn figures about 200 million and so on, you're looking at the quantum of the figures, which we have not been able to verify. We also have figures such as it costs 700,000 to train a student in LASU. That's government figure, 700,000. What did we share into the number of students? If you have, for example, look at the figures of enrollment. In the past, the enrollment used to be in the neighborhood of 4,000 per annum. Right now, and we have a capacity, our carrying capacity about 5,000 per annum, as per NUC figures. Now, because of the school fees, we're seeing a drop in the enrollment figures. And lecturers and workers will still remain in the system. We're going to be paid every month by government. Why do we have to be paid in order for us to train fewer number of students when you can still pay us the same salaries to train more number of students and help the society grow better?
Okay.
That's simply what we're saying. And the figures are clear right now. The figures we're having is alarming. We're seeing a drop in enrollment annually, every year. And nobody seems to want to really look at these figures. And it's not helping the system at all.
It's also asking for more work.
Yes, if we have to. We're asking for more work because we're being paid.
I mean, I'm just saying that if you frame the question differently, you could actually say you're going on strike because you don't have enough work to do.
Don't forget that policy of no work, no pay.
Outside of that, honestly, that's exactly what we're doing. We're saying that why do you have to pay us so much to train just few persons that can afford education? That's what we're simply saying. We're not asking for salaries this time around. We have backlog of areas that have not been paid. We're not going on strike for those reasons.
Let me flip to this next point. Your second point, you talk about promotion.
Please, I'd like us to exhaust this issue of school fees.
Yeah, but the challenge about that is the time.
Yes, I know.
Talk about that before.
You see, if you look at the enrollment figure, you also have a chart there.
Okay.
You see, the enrollment figure keeps dropping from 4,570 per annum to 3,000, to 2,000, 2,100 after the increase in school fees. Right now, we had 1,119 students matriculating the last matriculation. And not all this will get up to 300 level.
And these students paid the current fee?
Yes, they paid the current fee. And many of these will drop by the second year. That's what we're saying. So by next year, we're likely to get about 800 or 700. Nobody will need to tell us in the next 2-3 years that, look, what are you guys doing here? You have a department that admitted 2 students and has about 20 PhD holders and 3 professors to be teaching 2 students.
So this is also about job security.
Oh, sure. We must be honest with ourselves. We've got to do something about our jobs, outside of also serving the society.
Speaking about your jobs, let's then get to this point where you talk
I know you're
about
interested in that.
promotion. This notice you will have here, resolutions reached by the state government with 4 unions at the Lagos State University or JAW. You spoke with the governor, and then the first part here says that the Lagos State government has agreed to implement the ASUU Federal Government Agreement of 2009. And then we see the cover of that agreement between the federal government and ASUU, October 2009. And then page 19, 3.4, you have that subsection A, which says increase in retirement age of academics from 65 years to 70 for those in the professorial cadre.
That's right.
Is the state government bound by this decision, or by this federal government decision?
My question will be, if somebody goes into an agreement, is he bound by that agreement? I think that should be the question. You read the first agreement between the Lagos State government and the unions in LASU. And you could see that the governor of the state, Esan, headed the government team that signed that agreement. If you flip to the other side, that agreement was signed on behalf of government by the head of service. The question should be, should a government honor its agreement? If you can answer that question, I think we've solved this problem.
Is the government implementing this now?
That's one of the reasons for the problem. They are not implementing this agreement signed.
What reason did they give?
No reason, really. The first reason is that you forced us to sign the agreement. When it was signed, we wouldn't let you force us this time around. And we're shocked to ask the question to say that a union will force a governor to sign an agreement.
Yesterday, the chairman ad hoc committee on this Lagos State school fees matter, Mr. Adekunle, who also doubles as the commissioner for transport, but he's the chairman of that ad hoc committee. He talks about that if there's no vacancy in that professorial cadre, how are you asking for promotions? And how will new entrants come in if those who are 65 don't want to leave at the proper time?
It's interesting. It's interesting. This law made at the federal level was done after a lot of research. This country has a dearth of professors. There's no doubt about it. I say we're going to deceive ourselves. Professors are like jewels. And the older they are, the better. They're like wines. Just as you did for the judges to increase the retirement age of judges, the same thing was done for professors. And we believe that the government studied this before signing this agreement in Lagos State with us, that they were going to implement it. You see, the university is run not like a private organization. We have specializations. You could be in communications, you have journalism, you have radio, you have production, and so on. So you have professors and you have experts in each of the different fields. There is no way you're going to get to a situation where you say that there are no vacancies for professors. No, it's not practicable, because these professors are expected to regenerate themselves. They're expected to do the postgraduate programs and produce more PhD holders. You see what happens is that when they retire at 65, but they are not tired, you find them in the private universities teaching 100-level students, 001, 201, when they should be taking 800-level courses at master's levels. So the issue does not arise at all. It is not true.
The issue about vacancies. If there isn't any vacancy, there can be no promotion.
No. There will always be vacancies, because it takes time. It's not everybody that is going to become a professor. It's not everybody that has the ability to become one. There are vacancies, and there will always be vacancies, because there are specializations in each of the fields.
Yeah, because, I mean, one of the things that the state government has also said is that they do not have vacancies in this field, that they have advertised vacancies in some other fields, but it seems like lecturers are not willing to look in that direction, but are concentrated more in some particular areas. Is that the case?
That is not the case. It is not true.
It's not true.
Now, you ask yourself the question, why would each time there is accreditation, most universities, including LASU, will have to now go and get professors and human capital to come and sit in for 1 month or for 2 weeks? pay them off in order to do accreditation, which is what most universities do these days. And ASUU is saying, no, it is wrong. You need to get your own people. You train them from beginning until they get to the top.
This agreement was signed
on the 31st of December
2010. We're talking
right.
about 4 years after. Are you
Thank
saying
you. Thank
that? Are you saying that no part of this agreement has been implemented?
Oh, some portions of it have been implemented. There is no doubt about it. Some portions have been implemented and some portions have not. And we're not talking about some of those other portions. For example, you could see item number 4 talks about arrears. The government have paid their own part of salary arrears, but universities have not paid theirs. But we're not talking about those things now because we know that there are much more serious things.
The state government would increase university subvention by 25%.
The subvention have been increased, not exactly by 25%, but by certain portions. And
what is the percentage they've increased it by?
I wouldn't have that offhand, I must be honest with you. We don't see those issues as issues that we should go on an action for. But when you have an agreement, you are bound by that agreement. And
have you had any meeting concerning the implementation of this agreement before the strike?
It's been on since that time. Before ASUU can call our members out of the classrooms, we go through very rigorous process because the issue of strikes is not a palatable issue. We're parents and we have a responsibility to these students. By the time we are coming out, we will have exhausted every avenue. We've spoken with the university authorities, with governing council, we've spoken with different ad hoc committees, we've met with stakeholders in the community, we've had meetings with Oba Akran, with Oba of Lagos, Oba of Ojo, Olojo of Ojo. We've met with several other persons, but we felt that the government was not taking these issues seriously. Okay. And if we don't tackle these issues, it is at the heart of the existence and survival of LASU.
I'm afraid we're not able to touch on the third aspect of your grouse, no thanks to time, but it's an ongoing matter, so we may have to reach out to you. Dr. Adekunle Idris is the chairman of the Academic Staff Union of Universities LASU chapter. Thank you for coming on this morning.
It's a pleasure.
Well, that's a wrap today on Sunrise Daily. We thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Oso.
Well, thank you. I'm Malfe Ogun.
Goodbye.